And that's exactly what AI Studio is. It brings in all of the amazing stuff that's been going on rapidly over the past few months and just puts it into one place where developers can check out and start building, or businessmen can start looking at, okay, well, what is the possibilities?
So you see Jay Cool there, so you know this is going to be something about AI. Jay, welcome back.
Hey, Brandon, man, thanks a lot for having me on. And yeah, obviously AI, when the topic's AI, I'm here. But Brandon, I'm ready to talk anything Hedera. I'm always happy to join as well.
All right, sounds good. So what I want to get into today is we already have the asset tokenization studio, we already have the stablecoin studio, but a new one just launched last week, and it's the AI studio. Can you tell us about it?
Amazing, yeah. So big announcement recently, the AI studio. Now, essentially, what this AI studio is doing is, if you've been sort of following the Hedera ecosystem, you would have seen loads and loads of stuff coming from myself, from other people in the ecosystem about all of these sort of pockets of AI goodies that have been released. So, for example, we had the Hedera Agent Kit SDK. We had some outputs from recent hackathons. Lots of stuff's been going on, but it's just been sort of spread out, and there's not really been one centralized place which aggregates it all together and is sort of okay, if you want to do some stuff on Hedera with AI, go to AI Studio. And that's exactly what AI Studio is. It brings in all of the amazing stuff that's been going on rapidly over the past few months and past few weeks and months, and just puts it into one place where developers can check out and start building, or businessmen can start looking at, okay, well, what is the possibilities? We've got quotes on there. We've got GitHub repositories, which developers can clone. We've got use cases, everything sort of on there. It's your go-to place if you want to start building on AI on Hedera.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So the next thing I want to touch on is, as you alluded to there, there's new stuff coming out about Hedera AI, whether that's standards, whether that's tooling, whether that's just the capabilities of Hedera to fit the use cases of these AI applications. Now, we're going to leave the use cases themselves to the side right now, but when it comes to, the Hedera capability for these use cases, when it comes to these toolings, these standards, these things that we're putting together, what are you most excited about?
Yeah, so I mean, it's hard to just put it at one, because we've got some of the sort of core SDKs that we've been building internally. That's your Hedera Agent SDK, your integration with Eliza. These tools, when we've been developing them, we've been speaking to the end users, and but end users in this case are customers like people like Hashpack, who are potentially or Cabilo. These are people who have got applications that are being used by tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people maybe. And these are the people who, if they integrate AI using the Agent Kit SDK or using other agent kits, will be able to provide this AI interface for their users. So we've been speaking with ecosystem members like them and understanding, okay, when we build these tools, we're investing our money and capital into building these tools so that the community can benefit. And it's really been sort of going, okay, the end users, what are they going to require? And a big one which comes up is this idea of human in the loop. And you hear it all the time when it comes to AI. And in the context of Hedera or Web3, human in the loop really means having it so that wallet connect pops up and the user can sign the transaction after verifying, okay, this has not been some hallucinated jargon. It's not going to be transferring loads of money out of my account. Now, we've built the infrastructure for that to be used. And I'm really excited for that to actually now be used down the sort of value chain, so potential vendors, potential people in our ecosystem can actually use it and provide this more safe human in the loop functionality, which allows end users to basically chat with an LLM, say, I want to swap this, I want to buy that token, I want to do this, I want to do that, and have that screen pop up, okay, this transaction has been built, click execute. Now, that's stuff which we've been building internally, but I also want to give a big shout out to stuff that's been going on, particularly by Michael Cantor over at Hashgraph Online. I mean, we just ran a really successful hackathon and the quality of output was unbelievable. Some of the projects were just so good, and they were leveraging some of the Hashgraph Online, the HCS standards. And that is another thing which I'm really quite excited about. This HCS 10 or Open Convey, essentially what it does, it allows a decentralized communication rails, communication platform for AI agents to communicate with other AI agents. And really cheap. It's all built on the consensus service, totally decentralized. And that's something where I think, as we did see in the hackathon, but also moving forward, we're going to see a lot of interesting innovations around there.
I've brought this up, and I actually had a disagreement with somebody in the ecosystem a few days ago about how, Michael's convey and those standards, it can really make it so HBAR could become kind of the native currency for the AI space. And with it being 10 times cheaper than the stable coins out there, again, it could just make a lot of sense. So now I want to, since you talked about the hackathon, we have these use cases. You have to have more than just the tools. Which use cases do you think are going to hit the Hedera network first? And then a little on further down the line, which ones do you think are going to have the most impact on the Hedera network in terms of AI?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think sort of off the back of the hackathon, I mean, when we saw well, there were two types. We had people who were building AI applications which are just for reading state. So, for example, one of the top submissions was like it interacted with the source swap APIs using open conveyors like a communication rail, but it could be done in other ways as well. And it was interacting with the source swap APIs to understand which pools are being traded the most and get sort of that read-only data. It wasn't actually writing anything to the blockchain though. On the other side of things, we had lots of people who were submitting projects using that human in the loop type style, where they are actually transacting on the blockchain. And I think this, to me, is really, we're at a point where, okay, AI, the tooling's there, just the whole sort of psychology around AI is that, yeah, it's here to stay. People are gradually adopting it more and more into their applications. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing these human in the loop, you get chat user interface, and you sort of sign a transaction after it, the AI packages it up and sends it to you. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing those in some of the applications that we're interacting with day in, day out.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, you were talking about Hashpack and Saucer Swap and Bonzo. These are the first ones that I see actually using it, these degen type applications. They're always the first to use everything. But how do you think they're going to impact the enterprises out there? I'm sure they're going to be looking at some of these things as proofs of concept for ways they might be able to leverage AI in Hedera.
Yeah, I think obviously from the enterprise side, you can't talk about Hedera and AI without talking about companies like Prove AI and obviously Equity Labs. And they're going sort of really on the data provenance layer, making sure that AI training and inference is being accounted for and auditable in a transparent and trusted way. It's been really important, still is really important. Potentially something that we could maybe be seeing now that we have AI agents which are able to trade and transact, is maybe having some autonomous AI agents which are suitable for trading, or any sort of business where actually they want to start issuing NFTs maybe to represent some sort of commodity or real world asset tokenization. That whole process now, it doesn't need to be done by a software engineer writing smart contracts. It can be done just by a normal person with a large language model, and getting them to start minting tokens. And then that AI agent is calling the asset tokenization studio, which obviously we've built. It's very robust. It's been audited, really open source, good high quality stuff for building RWAs. But actually you can have that sort of LLM interface, which just makes that barrier to entry much lower.
Well, I mean, that's really interesting. So it could take some of the load off the smart contract service, which we know is fairly inefficient, and put that onto AI. And then that can interact with the other services we have that are a lot more efficient at the base layer.
Yeah. I mean, it still obviously depends. There's a time and place. There is sort of sometimes you need to use a smart contract, and then you still sort of be a victim of the EVM's lower performance relative to the native Hedera token service and the native services. But actually, this is a bit of a segue. There's a really interesting new Hedera improvement proposal, which is, I think it's in testnet now. It's definitely pretty close. HIP 551. And actually what this allows you to do is allows you to bundle native token transactions, native Hedera service transactions into sort of one block and submit that to be executed, which gives it smart contract-esque functionality. It's kind of like smart contract with smart contracts, where you get the benefits of the native service, you get the benefits of the speed, the price, and the ABFT. Well, I think even our smart contracts are ABFT because it's all expensive. But you get all of the benefits from the native service, particularly the high throughput. Obviously, the native service is much higher throughput than EVM, and it's all done. But so you get those benefits without needing to use smart contract. A good example is, okay, let's say I need to have I've got a token which I want to make a soul-bound NFT. So soul-bound NFT, obviously, once you receive it, you're not allowed to transfer it at all. Now, this can be achieved by using the freeze functionality on the Hedera token. So you create a token, you send it to someone, and you freeze it. Now, traditionally, before HIP 551, there's two ways where you can do this. The first way is you send it to them, and then in a separate transaction, you freeze it. Now, there is a risk that there's a small gap of time in between where they might just send it elsewhere, and then sort of the whole thing is void. The other more robust option, which was probably the only viable option up until HIP 551, is you do it inside of a smart contract. So you have a smart contract which transfers the token and then freezes it, and it wraps it all in one sort of smart contract function call using the Hedera system contracts. And that then eliminates the risk of someone being able to sort of transfer because it's sort of done atomically in the smart contract. But it's much more expensive. It requires developers to know Solidity, and it's not as quick. The throughput's not as high. With HIP 551, you can now bundle those transactions into a batch transaction and just submit that batch transaction, and it does it as though it was in a smart contract, but with all of the benefits of it not being a smart contract.
Eliminating those trade-offs. We love to hear it. So
exactly.
Before we let you go here, I know we have the demo day, which is a day ahead for us, but by the time this comes on and everybody sees it, it's going to be behind. Is there anything else that you'd like to pass on?
Well, I mean, I think if you didn't tune into the demo day, definitely have a look at some of the posts which come afterwards. I mean, we had about 300 participants, I think 270 or something like that. However many submissions, it's a couple of weeks ago now, 14 of the top submissions have come through. And I was looking through the list actually at the moment, and even the ones who were in 15th, 16th, 17th place who didn't make the cut, they were still really, really good. Definitely check them out. Some of the most innovative ideas that I've seen. I mean, literally look at them, sort of blew my mind away. I will just say this sort of one which I was looking at, I was like, wow, this is cool. There was some guy built a sort of a whole protocol on Hedera, which basically you can use old phones to run large language models on, small quantized ones, so sort of lightweight LLMs. And then you can sort of use the Hedera consensus service, HCS 10, to submit messages to prove that this phone is active, to prove that this phone is connected. You then get that sort of auditability that, okay, this phone is hosting an LLM, it is live. And then other people can pay that phone a micro fee to use the LLM for inference. And I was like, wow, this is just so cool. So there's plenty of ideas like that. Definitely tune into some of the content which we've released after the fact. And obviously, hopefully you did tune into the live thing as well, because there's lots of VCs involved. You've got other ecosystems coming on. Everyone involved, particularly, again, Hashgraph Online and some of my colleagues at Hashgraph have done an absolutely amazing job in orchestrating this thing in such small time as well. We barely had any notice because we were just like, let's do it. So yeah, it's going to be really great.
Well, I can't wait to see what comes out of the hackathon and the rest of the Hedera AI space. Jay, like always, thanks for coming on, and I hope we can have you back real soon.
Of course, my man. Appreciate it.
I'm now posting these interviews of Hedera builders independently to my channel. The community, influencers, and media outlets are free to use this content to spread the word on what's being built on Hedera. Once they're all uploaded, you'll be able to go to my channel and search for whatever topic or team you're interested in to find more information. Or you'll be able to get the most recent Hedera news by watching the latest HBAR Weekly update. So check them out.